Hi, my name is Attorney Walter, if not the third. I'm with Disability Resolution PA. First off, I'm on vacation, so please excuse the no backdrop background. I didn't want to have to bring it. It's literally a 27-hour drive for me to go to Florida and Maine. I wasn't bringing all that stuff. The lighting isn't perfect. I didn't bring a bunch of lighting. The AC unit over there is blaring. I know that, but just stick with me because, you know, you've seen my other videos. I've almost produced over 3,000 other videos. If you don't know who I am, hi. But bottom line is, here we go. Fox News. We're going to be specifically going into what Fox News had to say about HR 1030, the ABC Act, specifically for the Automatic Boost to Communities Act. This was promoted by RASHIDA TLAIB, right here. And like I said in the other video, it usually takes a Democrat to come up with a great idea, and it usually takes a Republican to go ahead and figure out how it can actually be done. And so what I'm hoping here is that there's going to be a little bit more teamwork on this particular act, because at the end of the day, this is not a bad idea. They keep tweaking it. The first one they came out with, they had to throw out. That was on April 17th, 2020. Now they're on February 11th, 2021. The first one was HR 6553. The new one is HR 1030. House Representatives 1030. The whole point here is this is not a bad idea. How they're going to fund it is scary because it's got some potential badness to it, but this is not a bad idea. Let's go through what Fox had to say. Obviously, keep in mind, Fox is a Republican-based group. Fox is a conservative-based group, but I'll be giving also some Democratic ideas and things like that on top of it, and I try to always balance these things out a little bit to give you a neutral side. Let's go into it. TLAIB bill would drive everyone to $2,000 a month during pandemic, including illegal immigrants. Undocumented immigrants who have been in the U.S. for more than 3 months would be eligible. That is true. That is true. I read that, and you'll see that in the fact sheet video that I made. Rep. RASHIDA TLAIB, Democratic Michigan, a member of the Progressive Squad, is pushing a bill that would. And you notice how, like, when you have, like, Republican-based, you know, reporting or Democrat-based voting, they always have, like, this squad is evil, or this is that, blah, blah, blah. Let's keep going, though. They want to give everyone in the U.S., including undocumented immigrants, $2,000 a month during the coronavirus crisis, followed by $1,000 a month until a year after the coronavirus pandemic ends. TLAIB, the rep, Pramila Jayapal, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. She's Democrat of Washington. I don't see a lot of her stuff. Reintroduced the Automatic Boost to Communities Act in the House of Representatives today. Okay? So that's the new one, the 2021 one. So let's just read again what this is. Including undocumented immigrants, $2,000 a month during the coronavirus crisis, followed by $1,000 a month until a year after the coronavirus pandemic ends. Now, I've seen different writings on this. Some of them say it's going to be $2,000 months for the initial... Okay, so the fact sheet says it's $2,000 on it, on the card that they give you, and then it's $1,000 a month thereafter until a year after the coronavirus pandemic ends. This is saying $2,000 a month during the coronavirus crisis, followed by $1,000 a month until a year after the coronavirus pandemic ends. So this is saying something different than the actual fact sheet from RASHIDA TLAIB's specific House of Representatives website. As a representative, we'll skip that. The bill would be funded directly from the Treasury with no additional debt issued by minting 1 trillion coins, and additional coins is necessary. TLAIB Jayapal said in a press release. Okay, cool. So we've already gone through the whole financial thing as to how they're going to be doing it. I'm not going to do that in this video. 1 in 7 families don't have enough to eat. More than 8 million people have been pushed into poverty. Nearly 1 million new people are filing for unemployment every single week. That's what Jayapal said, or Jayapal, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. This unprecedented movement demands an unprecedented response. People don't only need relief, they need stability, certainty, and predictability, and the ABC Act delivers them exactly that. U.S. Rep, just so you know who she is, you guys know who she is. All right. Co-sponsors include Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York, Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. So basically, as they put it, the squad. The squad is all backing this. And then Bauman of New York, or Bowman or Bauman. Jamal Bauman. Okay. So here's the thing. Financially, the way they want to go ahead and fund this, it can legally be done, but it shouldn't be done because it's going to destroy the economy in a long-term sense. We'll go into that. Actually, I've already gone into that in other videos, but let's go through what they have to say. Because remember, this is supposed to be Fox News, very anti-liberal, and this is the squad. This is not Nancy Pelosi. This is not Biden. This is the squad pushing this. Since identifying every single person in the U.S. as well as U.S. citizens abroad who are eligible for the program It is a difficult task. Tlaib's office said the U.S. Treasury will create a list of individuals with the help of the IRS, the Social Security Administration, the FEC, and other agencies, including state-level DMVs. Undocumented immigrants who have been in the country for more than 3 months would be eligible. So all those people crossing the border that crossed when when Biden first got in, they're all eligible to receive $2,000 down and then $1,000 a month for a year after the pandemic. I know that's going to make a lot of you frosty. I know that. Tlaib has previously criticized the Biden administration on the subject of coronavirus relief. So this is like little Democrats trying to eat the big president Democrat. So let's go into that. One-time survival checks don't cut it when the bills haven't stopped coming in every month. We need monthly, recurring 2,000 survival checks. Tlaib wrote on Twitter earlier in March. Remember, a lot of those statements were like 2019, 2020. And that's where she put it here. That was on February 3rd, 2021, where she said, one-time survival checks don't cut it when the bills haven't stopped coming in every month. We need monthly recurring 2,000 survival checks. That's true. That's true. There does need to be some sort of monthly benefit. A lot of people are not as lucky to be like me, an educated attorney, even though I chose an industry that pays very little. And it's just ridiculous, but it is what it is. Like, if I were in PI, I would have paid off my student loans and I'd live in a mansion. I just bought my dream home, which ain't a mansion. I spend a lot of time and money building out an office. There's going to be a future news desk in there and everything, but it ain't a mansion. I bought a fixer-upper. But to me, that's a dream home. It's a dream home. Getting out of an HOA where I was renting, that's a dream. That is a dream. I have been in more trailers and homeless camps than pretty much, I would say, 99.9999999% of all Americans. And I can say that with almost a definitive nature because, and everybody knows this in my field, I'm the attorney that worked on the really tough claims for disability benefits for people who had a tough time getting medical, a tough time getting medication, tough time getting treated in general, had no transportation, had difficulty with their phones. Their phones were always getting stolen. They had limited minutes. I was that guy, and I still am. I'm also the guy that's created the first open source constitution that's going to be released shortly. Whether I get the 501c3 certification or not, the bottom line is I'm releasing spaceconstitution.com. I'm doing it. I've decided I'm not waiting for the federal government to bless it. I'm doing it. Additional quote from her, Rashida Tlaib. Quit messing around and send people the survivor checks we promised them, Tlaib wrote on Twitter in February. That's true. President Biden did make a lot of speeches where he did reference these things. Using 2019 income data totally ignores the economic destruction of the pandemic and eliminates the promise to bring relief, as was repeated nonstop in the campaign to win Georgia. So this is a Democrat beating on President Biden and, basically saying, hey, look, you promised them money. Not just a little bit of money, but bigger money. And he even, during some of the speeches, talked about recurring funds. So she's getting on him about it. Remember how there was that whole thing about whether Pelosi can control the squad? The squad doesn't really need to be controlled because here's why. The squad represents future thinking. It's going to take Republicans to figure out how their future thinking is going to work with society, but we need that. We need the squad to come out with these crazy assertions and demands and this and that. You need that so that these conservatives can start to figure out how future energy, not using engines, only using motors. Motors are electric, engines are gas, diesel, heavy fuel, etc. We need this to push this forward. Because if you don't have this stays, conservatives, exactly where it is. Because it is in their nature to conserve what exists currently. Rashida Tlaib, another, I guess it's a tweet. I don't use Twitter at all. Quit messing around and send people the survivor checks we promised them. Using 2019 income data totally ignores the economic destruction of the pandemic and eliminates the promise to bring relief, as was repeated nonstop in the campaign to win Georgia. And this is where it talks about White House open to narrowing who qualifies for stimulus checks, but the White House for the next round of stimulus payments, but not lowering those payments below $1,400. And I know you guys know about, Biden promised $2,000, and then he calculated, as part of that essentially the $600 Trump put out reduced the $2,000, $1,400, and that was never part of the deal. And a lot of you guys feel very frosty about that. Nothing I can do about it. She linked to a story about the White House considering lowering the income requirements for receiving stimulus checks, something some experts have reportedly criticized because the decision would be based on data from 2019 before the shutdowns knocked the economy off its feet. Yeah, in 2019, just to rephrase things, this whole pandemic didn't really even exist. It didn't. Right? It's at the very end of 2019, we were starting to see like travel restrictions. They called people racist for having travel restrictions, and now we know that that was wrong. We need to have restrictions if there is truly a pandemic that is truly going to ravage an area. You know, all these things, you know, basic fundamental science of what do you do when you have to limit the spread of a virus. So we know all of that was just a bunch of political games now. And we know all of that was harmful, but they played it and they play their games. And we know that's why we shouldn't allow politicians to even order our food from a McDonald's, but we allow them to somehow lead us as a country. Let's keep rolling. Okay. Stated way back in 1931, and it says it all, you cannot legislate the poor into freedom by legislating the wealthy out of freedom. What one person receives without working for, another person must work for without receiving. The government cannot give to anybody anything the government does not first take from someone else. When half of the people get the idea that they do not have to work because the other half is going to take care of them, and when the other half gets the idea that it does no good to work because somebody else is going to get what they worked for, that, my dear friend, is about the end of any nation. You cannot multiply wealth by dividing it. Dr. Adrian Rogers, 1931. So that's true. That actually hits home much more heavily to me because I had over half $500,000 in student loans. I'm now down to $335,000. I had over $500,000 in student loans, and a lot of the student loans I paid went to the CEOs of the universities, and then a great majority of it went to basically minorities who they were giving these, you know, super large benefits to, you know, essentially groups that, you know, and that's including white females who wouldn't have to pay tuition or had to reduce tuition or got some sort of bulk payment or had some special bonus or whatever. I am literally paying for the minorities of the past and basically the white owners of the universities, all because white politicians in the past, white male politicians, said they were going to put that burden on me. Which is why I am not a big fan of President Biden anymore, because he has not gone into what he's going to do about student loans. And I am the most affected person when it comes to student loans. White, male, correct time period for when the most abuse happened with student loans. Now look, the cream always rises to the top. Whether you're Latino, Asian, African American, the brightest people always get to the top and they do an amazing job. That's the bottom line. But I don't have a good life when I should have had a much better life. And the reason why is that I have to pay out more than most of you receive in benefits per month for student loans until I'm in my 60s. So I guess my point to you guys is this. Just be careful with some of this legislation before you put it on the heads of other people, because trust me, I'm 35 right now. I can assure you, I graduated early from almost every single place that I went to. I was when I was in high school, I was the president of the chess team. I was a top lacrosse player. I did a lot of amazing things. I was president of the Jewish Law Student Association at Barry, which is the law school I went to. I graduated one of the fastest amount of times in the time when they didn't have super fast allowances for my MBA. That's because I took 4 semesters worth of credits in a single year, and I boosted them. They were like 24, 26 credits in this per semester. My point to you is this. I am in financial slavery because of how they intend to fund this, because of essentially how this is working. Don't be so stupid to think that this will not come back to bite not only you when you're older, but your children. There are better ways to fund it that are not going to destroy the economy. Let's continue to see what Fox News has to say. And I hate how because Fox News always does this where it's like you print out a bunch of blank stuff and they have to keep going, because they just do all this SEO stuff that they integrate into their pages. Next thing in here, sounds very similar to what Rand wrote in Atlas Shrugged. I guess that was a reply to this. Oh, I guess these are just replies. Wait, let me see. Okay, cool. Here we go. Let's review some facts. Unemployment rates are 6.7% or lower and are decreasing. Consumer spending has not slowed. November-December 2020 spending increased 5%. Housing sales have remained strong and prices have risen 15%, or in some areas 25%. I don't know if I'd be applauding that. 401k plans have increased significantly in value over the past year. Financial markets have been strong. Many businesses are desperate for workers. The CARES Act providing a pad of $600 a month beyond unemployment was a job killer. The $300 was better, but still kept people out of the workforce. 2 weeks ago, when the $1,400 arrived, employers found people quit their jobs. They had government money in their pocket and took themselves out of the workforce. Businesses are desperate to regain lost revenues from lockdowns and or reduce sales. When the opportunity to grow and regain previous levels, the workforce is not there. To be sure, some business sectors are hurting. Hospitality, yes, they need help. This not the same as blanket coverage as TLAIB proposes. Focus on where help is needed. I don't even know if that was a response. Has a reply of 546 thumbs up, 16 thumbs down. Fox News has to work better at like how they present their articles when you print them out, because yeah, these are all just responses at this point. I mean, there's a lot of responses. Here's another response. Why stop at 2,000 per month? Why not give everyone 10 million each and just print a bunch of 1 trillion coins, since it won't add to the debt? We can then end all social programs since everyone will have $10 million. No one will need to work since they have 10 million. What a utopia. Poverty wiped out in a single stroke with just the need to print some 1 trillion coins? How on earth can someone who is so uninformed about how an economy actually works be elected to Congress? If this weren't so frightening for our country, it would be funny. It's not entirely inaccurate. Here's the thing. The way that they're going to propose to pay for this will kill the country. Without a doubt. Financially, it'll kill the country. But some form of UBI. Think about this. All right, so we were given $600 a week to a lot of people. And I know people from my own industry that, they weren't the attorneys, but they were just like, I'm not going back to work. I'm getting $600 a week. It's $2,400. The part-timers that are working with law firms, they didn't work through all this. And I told them, I said, must be nice to have a 1.5 year vacation. Oh, no, I had to take care of my kids and yada, 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 and so on and so forth. That's how that always goes. Then comes the kids argument, then comes the this argument. Oh, life was so tough for me, yada, yada, yada. She was getting $2,400 a month, which was down from what she normally gets, but she didn't have to go to work. She didn't have to hire somebody to watch her kids. She didn't have to do that stuff. So, there is that side of it too. I had to work extra hard. I lost employees. I lost front offices because the money wasn't there. The government took their sweet time. They took about 6 months where they just weren't paying out much. And I get paid directly from the government, specifically for representing people for their back pay. And then I pay a service fee to the government, which doesn't pay me quickly, usually gets it wrong, and then I'm stuck having to pay back something or work out something with the claimant or yada yada. So aside from being in a very wrong industry to make money, it is an industry where I help people, and I do feel good about that, which is why I'm still in it. But this is not, the idea of this is not bad. It's not bad. Yeah, $600 a week is going to keep people from working. $300, $300, right? So now you're looking at essentially, $600, $1,200 a week, or $1,200 a month. That's a smaller amount. This actually equates to less overtime, right? Because $300 a week, you're getting $1,200. This talks about you get $2,000 up front and then you get $1,000 thereafter. So after a certain amount of months, that $1,000 versus that $1,200, you'd actually end up with less than this than what they're currently doing. The big balancing issue that none of these things are really going into is the difference between low-income workers and those who don't want to work and those who are unable to work. Unable to work, we shoot for disability benefits. Don't want to work, they just stagnate. And people, and I always say this, but people get offended by it, people are like animals. People are. You have horses, tigers, lions, beavers, some of them can run, some of them can work hard, some of them do this, and then you have sloths, you have pandas, you have people that just don't want to work, and they're never going to want to work in their entire life. They just don't want to do anything. They want to sit there and watch TV and play video games, and frankly, some days, I want to do that too. I don't ever get to. I haven't owned a video game system for 8 years, and the video game system I did own, I purchased, played the video game on it, Halo, and then I gave it to a buddy. because I knew I wouldn't have time to play it after that. It was literally just a weekend thing. I bought it, spent hundreds of dollars, had fun with it, and then I gave it to the person I was playing with. That was it. But I'm also an idiot when it comes to money. I could have sold that, and but as you guys see, I'm just giving you information. Although these are different from my usual videos. My usual videos are just Social Security benefits. Alright guys, so I've gone through, I think, a fair amount of ideas, changes, options, things like that, so you could see what's going on with this whole $2,000 a month thing. I did this because I noticed how much absurd amounts of clickbait there were out there on it. The first video I made about this whole subject was 2,000 monthly payments are about as likely as, essentially, unicorns being real. This is not going to happen in its current form. But it doesn't mean it's a bad idea. They got to work on the funding part of it. They have to work on who actually gets these checks. Giving Bill Gates a $2,000 debit card with $1,000 every month, he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. This would give him one. Like I said, it's going to take Republicans to narrow down who's going to actually get this. And don't let them tell you that a payroll tax credit isn't a good idea. A payroll tax credit is a really, really good idea, because us small businesses, especially in the industries that don't make lots of money, in the industries that work directly with homeless people and low-income people, we need those tax credits to find and hire new people, because all these big corporations are putting out big money to hire people right now, because there's a lot of people looking for a job. You guys have a wonderful day. My name is Attorney Walter Knott with Disability Resolution PA. If you like this channel, please subscribe, like, and please leave 5-star reviews so that I can be competitive against the advertising mega giants that are the big box firms. Also, I want to thank you guys for being with me for these videos while I'm on vacation. I know they're not as pretty and as cool and as well lit. I know there's no backdrop. I know that there's none of that stuff, and I know that my face was bleeding through a couple of the videos because Shadow bit me, and I was still going through the process of getting it not just cleaned up, but putting on special things to keep it from bleeding. And that's another story. Guys, if you have a dog, keep your dog on a leash. If you're not in a park setting or a setting that's meant for that, or you don't own a big property or have a fenced-in area, keep him on a leash. This dog was walking up the other side of the road with their owner, wasn't on a leash. I picked up my dog. My dog got scared, bit me on the face. And he has that. He has PTSD. If I ever post that video where he almost got killed by a German Shepherd pit bull mix, you'll see where Shadow's getting a lot of that angst from. So, but the bottom line is, I'm sorry I'm not in perfect shape, but anyways, I'm gonna go and enjoy myself a little bit. I'm in the beautiful state of Maine, where I would like to create a funny video about the top 10 things that aren't true about Maine. Number 1, the federal government keeps their mythical creatures in Maine. Stuff like that, cute stuff. But anyways, I will catch you guys later. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.